All right, before I get into this video, I got to remind you guys that we are giving away a Nintendo Switch, an Xbox Series X, or a PlayStation 5. We're also giving away 2 copies of Pikmin 3 Deluxe. So you can like this video, comment on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon, all that jazz. Information to enter the giveaway is down in the description. Now, this is huge. This is something that I honestly did not think was going to happen. But holy crud, this just broke. This is breaking news from the Department of Justice of the United States. Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft have done it. Nintendo in particular have done it. Team Xecuter are in custody. The 3 leading members of Team Xecuter have been arrested. And they have been arrested for exactly the things that Nintendo has been fighting against. Piracy. Now, Team Xecuter, by the way, has been the leading Switch hacking group out there. They are the ones that have produced about 98% or so of the Switch hacks and all of the software associated. Also, they kind of pissed off some of the hacking community because they attached DRM to some of their custom software. That was great. They also started charging access to access the pirated games. They were doing some really crappy stuff because they knew that people were using their hacking tools and their hacking software at an extremely high rate. But Team Xecuter is essentially no more. Let's look at this from the Department of Justice. 2 leaders of one of the world's notorious video game piracy groups, Team Xecuter, have been arrested and are in custody facing charges filed in the U.S. District Court in Seattle. This is important to note about Seattle because Nintendo and Microsoft are both located in Seattle. This lawsuit was most likely brought on initially by Nintendo, who was pressing charges. Max Laurent, who's 48, a French national of Avignon, France, and Yaning Chen, 35, a Chinese national of Shenzhen, China, and Gary Bowser, 51, a Canadian national of Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, were charged in federal indictment unsealed today. The indictment alleges the defendants were leaders of a criminal enterprise. That's right, they're calling Team Xecuter a criminal enterprise that developed and sold illegal devices that hacked popular video game consoles so they could be used to play unauthorized or pirated copies of video games. The enterprise targeted popular consoles such as the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo 3DS, the Nintendo Entertainment System Classic Edition, the Sony PlayStation Classic, and the Microsoft Xbox. These defendants were allegedly leaders of a notorious international criminal group that reaped illegal profits for years by pirating video game technology of U.S. companies, said Acting Assistant Attorney General Brian C. Rabbit of the Justice Department of Criminal Division. These arrests show that the department will hold accountable hackers who seek to commandeer and exploit the intellectual property of American companies for financial gain, no matter where they may be located. These defendants lined their pockets by stealing and selling the work of other video game developers, even going so far as to make customers pay a licensing fee to play stolen games. And U.S. Attorney Brian Moran for the Western District of Washington. This conduct does not just harm billion-dollar companies, it hijacks the hard work of individuals working to advance in the video game industry. Theft of intellectual property hurts U.S. industry, game developers, and exploits legitimate gaming customers, all of which threaten the legitimacy of the commercial video game industry, said Acting Special Agent in Charge Eben Roberts of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Homeland Security Investigation of Seattle. We are committed to working with our international partners to find criminals like these who steal copyrighted material and bring cyber criminals to justice. Imagine if something you invented was stolen from you and then marketed and sold to customers around the world. That is exactly what Team Xecuter was doing, said Special Agent in Charge Raymond Duda of the FBI Seattle Field Office. This is a perfect example of why the FBI has made a prevention of theft intellectual property a priority. These arrests should send a message to would-be pirates that the FBI does not consider these crimes to be a game. According to court documents, Team Xecuter Criminal Enterprise is comprised of over a dozen individual members located around the world. These members include developers who exploit vulnerabilities in video game consoles and design circumvention devices, website designers who create the various websites that promote the enterprise's devices, suppliers who manufacture the devices, and resellers around the world who sell and distribute the devices. The indictment alleges that due to the illegal nature of its business, Team Xecuter continuously sought to evade enforcement efforts by victim companies, financial institutions, and law enforcement. Notably, Team Xecuter attempted to protect its overall business by using a wide variety of brands, websites, and distribution channels, according to the indictment. From approximately June 2013 through August of 2020, Team Xecuter used a variety of product names for its devices, such as the Gateway 3DS, the Stargate, the True Blue Mini, the Classic 2 Magic, and the SX line of devices that included the SX OS, SX Pro, SX Lite, and the SX Core. According to the indictment, Team Xecuter at times cloaked its illegal activity with purported desire to support gaming enthusiasts who wanted to design their own video games for non-commercial use. However, the overwhelming demand and use for the enterprise's devices was to play pirated video games. To support this illegal activity, Team Xecuter allegedly helped create and support online libraries of pirated video games for its customers, and several of the enterprise's devices came preloaded with numerous pirate video games. According to the indictment, Team Xecuter was so brazen that it even required customers to purchase a license to unlock the full features of its custom firmware, the SX OS, in order to enable the ability to play pirated video games. In September of 2020, Lurin and Bowser were arrested abroad in connection with charges in this case. The United States will seek Lurin's extradition to stand trial in the United States. Bowser was arrested and deported from the Dominican Republic and appeared today in federal court in New Jersey. Each defendant is charged with 11 felony counts, including conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to circumvent technology measures, and to traffic in circumvention devices, trafficking in circumvention devices, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. The charges in the indictment are merely allegations, and the defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in the court of law. The case is being investigated jointly by the FBI and the HSI. The case is being prosecuted by Senior Counsel Frank Lynn of the Criminal Division's Computer Crime and Intellectual Property Section Assistant U.S. Attorneys Franz Nakamura and Brian Werner of the Western District of Washington, with significant ongoing assistance from the Justice Department's Office of International Affairs. The department appreciates the significant cooperation and assistance provided by its foreign government counterparts and the government of the Dominican Republic and Interpol Dominica. Guys, long story short, Team Xecuter is done. I get there's 9 other members, right? But these are the leaders. These are the ringleaders that organize it all. You can't tell me the 9 remaining members aren't running with the tail tucked between their legs, hoping to distance themselves as much as possible from all of this. Team Xecuter has been praised by some hacking groups. Team Xecuter has been praised by some Switch fans who enjoy their hacking tools. Reality is, Team Xecuter is scummy. They're some of the most scummy hackers in the world. They were trying to profit. They weren't just like distributing pirated games. They were profiting by charging people to access their library of pirated games and then charging people to access the ability in the OS to pirate games. Yes, folks, it's true. You can use their pirated Switch operating system. You can use it to do a lot of different things on your Switch. But I've been saying this for a long time. Let's be honest. What is the number one reason most, not all, most people hack their Switches? I said most, not all. I know there are hackers out there that are legit, that are not pirating games. But why do most people hack their Switch? To play pirated games. Same was true with the 3DS. Same was true with the PlayStation Classic, the NES Classic, all the things that they touched, the Xbox, everything Team Xecuter hacked. What was the primary purpose of hacking these systems? Oh, homebrew. Oh, it's about supporting the homebrew community and homemade games without having to go through Nintendo's eShop. No. This has been true this entire time. This goes back to the Wii days. Remember when everyone was all excited over the Wii homebrew stuff? And yeah, there was some legitimately cool crap of Wii homebrew. But guess what? A majority of people hack their Wii to pirate games. We can't, don't be stupid. Even if you are someone who hacked your devices and you did not do that, come on. It's like the unwritten rule in the hacking community. Don't talk about pirating the games, but let's just be real. Everyone's pirating the games. Why do you think video game footage for leaked games ends up online like that among dozens and dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of different YouTube channels and different avenues online? Why do you think game files get leaked and hacked and torn apart? But guys, people are using hack switches to distribute and play games illegally. And by the way, just because you own a copy of the game, this has always been the controversy. Oh, if I own a copy of the game, it's okay. It's only okay to play a ROM of a game that you own legally if you self-created that ROM. If you did not dump the game yourself, technically, the downloading and playing of that ROM from anywhere or being given it by anybody else is illegal. You could try justifying it all you want. I spent the money. It's against the law. This is one reason why I stopped. I used to, back in the late 90s, fully admit I used emulators and I played games. I played games like crazy. But guess what? I stopped. I almost got busted by my ISP for something, and I was done. I was done because it wasn't worth the risk anymore. It's just not worth it. Now, granted, Nintendo's being smart here. Don't go after the people that are using the devices because there's too many people. It is illegal, but there's too many people to go after in terms of, oh, who bought the devices, who are using the devices. It would just be a nearly impossible task to go after the people who are using their stuff. But you know what they can do? Go after the people that are creating it. And that's what happened. So we talked about a small victory the other day where Nintendo took down one of the retailers and got a $2 million settlement and took over the whole site. But you know what? This is the big victory. This is the victory lap. Now, yes, the judgments need to be made. Yeah, I know it says to presume innocent until proven guilty. We obviously know they're guilty in the sense of these things exist. Clearly, people were using them for piracy. Clearly, they did charge money. They did include DRM. So, yes, we know that this stuff factually already happened. It hasn't gone through the court system yet, right? It has to go through the court system, but we already know a lot of these things to be true. The money they were making, the DRM, the devices they were selling, what most hackers are actually using this stuff for. Let's just be real, right? Let's not lie and kid about all this. This is a huge victory for Nintendo because Nintendo devices were the biggest ones being targeted. Obviously, small victory for Sony with the PlayStation Classic, who doesn't really care about that device too much. Small victory as well for Microsoft with the Xbox, but let's just be honest. Nintendo devices were Team Xecuter's bread and butter. Goodbye, Team Xecuter. Let me tell you, you're not going to be missed. I am Nathaniel Rovachance from Nintendo Prime. Thanks for tuning in, folks. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.